was in one, it was in all. Your National Registry hours, I was wrong. In 2019, they're going to have to, everybody for National Registry is going to have to recertify using 20 hours. And it is broken down. Airway, respiratory, ventilation is an hour and a half. It's a 1 hour of ventilation, a half hour of oxygenation. Cardiovascular is 6 hours. Half hour of post-resuscitation care, a half hour of ventricular assist devices, an hour of stroke, 2 hours of cardiac arrest, 2 hours of pediatric cardiac arrest. Trauma is an hour and a half hour of trauma triage, a half hour of central nervous system injury, and a half hour of hemorrhage control. Medical is 6 hours, an hour and a half of special health care needs, a half hour of OB emergencies, a half hour of infectious disease, a half hour of pain management, a half an hour of psychiatric and behavioral emergencies, a half an hour of toxicological emergencies, a half an hour of neurological emergencies, endocrine emergencies and diabetes is an hour, and the immunological emergencies is a half hour. There's 5 hours of operations, at-risk populations, a half hour, ambulance safety, a half hour, field triage, disaster, MCI, half hour, EMS provider, hygiene, safety, and vaccination, so it's a half an hour, EMS culture of safety is a half an hour, pediatric transport is a half an hour, crew resource management is an hour, EMS research is a half hour, and evidence-based guidelines is half an hour. That's their 2000.
That's 20 hours?
20 hours.
Every 2 years?
That's 40 hours every 2 years. It's based on the, judging by what I'm reading, Jamie, it's based on the National Continued Competency Program.
That's exactly what it's based
So
on.
it's 20 hours every year, a total of 40 hours.
So 40
For
hours.
2 years, so that's 80 and 4.
Anybody think that's unreasonable?
And that's where it's going. It's just not there yet.
Hey, John, did the continuing education, the 48 hours change for EMT on that new standard? It was an additional 48 electives.
I don't know. Give me a second. It only has that listed there. Let's say. Between 20 hours of continuing education.
So, Jamie,
Yeah.
do you want to propose that you go back to the MC and suggest that they work with you on the new standards rather than the current?
What I would like to have, what I have found, and Doc's here now, so I gotta be careful what I say. What I have found with MPCC is it works much better when you go to them with a solid proposal and say, this is what we want to do and here's why. Versus having open discussion with them, because those discussions tend to get going all different directions then.
Jamie, let me add one particular point. I pulled up the guidelines. They've got objectives. They've got lesson content. They've got skills listed. Skills. They've got instructor preparations for everything. It's all.
If you go by this, they've got everything in that. I mean, it's all spelled out. It's all spelled out.
What about the extra stuff we let our EMTs do that most people don't? Are we educating them on that?
That'll have to be additional
We
hours.
could add it in. to the
Well, if
record.
you look at the breakdown on this NCCP, the competency model, it has 20 national hours, 10 state or local hours,
Yeah.
and 10 individual hours,
So it
to
gives you-
total 40.
Yeah.
So you could build that component in there.
That component's already there. It's just if it's a state requirement like the MCI and the hazmat, those hours would go in there. If it's something you're going to do
It sounds
locally,
like
those
there's a
hours would
huge
go there.
starting point there that, for the committee, or the subgroup.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is recommend that the subcommittee that's working on the curriculum also sit down and look at this and come back with a recommendation. For the sake of time, we're already looking at curriculum, so let's go ahead and continue with the EMT and the new National Register curriculum coming up, so.
So next meeting, we should have a solid recommendation from them to run through MSAC, and then we can present that to MPCC. Does that sound fair?
Who's on that subcommittee?
Ed Hannon, Lisa Dickens,
No.
Karen Scheik, and Karen Jones.
Before we adjourn, there'll be 5 minutes in between meetings. However, the live stream will continue to run. So if you're gonna have private conversations or talk about me, stay away from the camera when you do it, okay?
I'll probably step out my
All right, we have a couple minutes, then we're gonna have to change committees. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add, anything you'd like to bring up, discussion?
Marcia, are you the chair of this committee?
Yes.
Could you, post your contact information or?
Yes, absolutely.
Just one thing on the driver certifications. A lot of questions about how that's gonna play into the 4-year research. Are we going something different or is it gonna be
I can't answer that question. Can you answer that question?
What?
Okay, you probably need to repeat the question, because not everybody heard it.
on the driver certifications, are there gonna be any changes or is it gonna stick with the way it is now or since everything else is changing along the 4-year line?
Are you referring to the EVO certification?
Yeah,
Or INVO, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it stays the same. The 4-year policy is written for it. I think it all stayed the same, just like it is.
But with a 4-year,
Yeah, it was
Yeah, what changed is that they have to have a hazmat every year. That was the only change to it, instead of just 2 hazmats a guy.
So, is there any way to get on the subcommittee? I mean, if you looked at legislation this year, about half of it involving EMS is just this entire, I'm not defending, I won't walk in and defend 38 hours in 4 years or whatever. I think it's a little more than that. But the way this is going, the volunteer bill is just saying, hey, got us some slack. If you want to talk about management, now with the other 40 hours, we're back up to 20, right? So it's 80 plus 40 is 120 hours.
For what?
What's that?
Well, that's if you even did the EMT, the way the National Registry, the MPP or whatever, MCCP. So it's 20 hours a year is what I heard.
For 2 years.
No.
It's a total of 40 hours for 2
It's
years.
40 hours every 2 years, for a total of
Oh, it's
80
40 hours
in 4
every
years.
2, okay.
And then we have, and then Beth pointed out that there's 40 hours of other material.
No, that's
Oh.
the breakdown of the 40 in 2 years.
Okay. And then we would have to do and I don't mind the credentialing for West Virginia, but, or, you know, the added medications and stuff, but it's still going to be more than it's been. And I would just like, you know, if it's good and it's solid and some of it can be online or majority of it, they can get things where you come in and actually do lab work and stuff. But I mean, everybody that's up in arms about it, I didn't draft any legislation, but if you look at it between the DMAPs and the volunteers and all of those bills was about, you know, having, and then we spent the first part of the meeting just talking about how to get squads to be able to function. So,
Right, but at the same time, we can't put people that aren't competent on the street either. So we gotta have a happy medium.
I know, my
So-
RN
so
is 12
what-
hours a year.
What you're asking is what you need to do to be on the committee, right?
Yes,
Say, Jamie, I'd like to be on the committee.
Jamie, please, let me be on the committee.
Taken care
It'll save a
of.
lot of time.
Taken care of.
Say no, Jamie, I dare you.
Somebody needs to tell Paul what other committees we put him on too.
All right, we're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for your participation.